Here's how to replace the inside driver's door handle on a 2000 Toyota Camry. And this would also apply for, I believe, a 2001 and a 99, 98, 97, all very similar. I have a replacement here that I got for mucho cheap $1 online. It's not the same color as you can tell, but it'll be good enough. It has a new sticker which isn't as faded, but big deal. So what we have to do is take the door panel out, and we have to remove a few caps first. You have one here, there's one here, this one you just pry out right over there, and there's also this button over here that you have to pop. And to get this button out, you have to depress the center of it, and now you can pry out the whole thing just like that. And then make sure that you reset it. You just pop the button back up so it sticks out the top, and it'll be ready for reinstallation later. A series of screws. There's obviously the ones under the caps that we took out in there. You got a couple up in here on the door pull. Underneath the door, there's one here, and somewhere along here as well, right over there. You got to take those out, and then I'll show you what's next once we get those screws out. Okay, I've taken the screws out. These here I was not able to pull out. They'll come out when we get the door panel off. What I like to do whenever I take screws out of things that have multiple or different screws is do it in rows. You'll notice this one here and this one are kind of in a line, so that's your top row, and then all of these would be the middle row, and you'd put them in the order, you'd put them down on your table or whatever you're using in the order in which you take them out. So now you just go left to right, up and down, and then the two bottom ones. So as you see here, this was the screw that was in the handle itself. That's the one that had the cover on it, and then here's the bottom row. I left the space for the middle, which I'll put those screws later when I can get them, and these have these hex head bolts on them, just like that. The next step is to remove the bezel here that goes around the handle. This is a little counterintuitive. You lock it first, and you need to get two small screwdrivers to get in here and pry out. You want to go in there and pry out like that. Same thing, you get in up here and pry out like that, and keep tension on the back side. I'll show you the replacement so you see what you're actually dealing with. Here's the replacement, okay, and there's these clips here. These clips are what you're trying to pop out. So when you push down and pry like that, you're prying these tabs out of there so the bezel comes off. Okay, only two hands but three screwdrivers. We're going to go in here and start prying like that. Let's see if we get that one. Looks like I got that one already, which is good. And now I'll try this one up here. Just get in there. Not bad. And now that's out. We're almost ready to take the door panel off. There's two more things you have to remove. One is the speaker grill trim here. You just sort of pop it out just like that. And you also have to pop up the window controls here. Just put a flat blade screwdriver in there and pry up. There's a big clip on it, so just take your time and be careful with it. And there you go, like that. Now just slide it forward a bit, and you have to remove the connector. There's a clip here that you have to press, and with a little finagling and wiggling, perhaps you can get it out. I'm going to have to play with this for a minute to get this out. There we are, just like that. And you can set that aside. Now also note, when you take the door panel off, you're going to see a couple of these plastic clips, and they're likely going to shear off on you. You'll meet some resistance trying to pry over here, and it'll probably just shear off. You really don't need them. It'll hold nice and tight. It's not going to squeak and rattle anyway, but you can usually find replacements of these in the help section of your local auto parts store if you did want to replace them. They're these plastic mushroom clips, but don't worry much else about them because the rest of the screws on the panel will hold everything back. Okay, we're ready to remove the door card now. You see it's mostly loose there. So this is one of those things you just kind of have to grab it and work it out and play with it. Pick it up there, and work it up over here. One of the screws fell out, and there the door card is. I'll just set that down over here and make sure you recover your screws. Okay, so now the door panel is off. One more screw you have to take out, which is right here. And that will give you access to the rest of the handle. Okay, we'll put that aside right there. This is going to take a little bit of wiggling. You move it toward the inside like that, and now it's loose. And now you have to go and remove the connecting rods from the back. Okay, now this has this little clip here, and the rod comes in and goes through that round part. So how do you do this? Well, it's a matter of just sort of playing with it. You can rotate the lock lever and kind of bend the whole thing, and then pull up on the rod. And now we have that one out. And now for the bottom, it's sort of the same thing. Just kind of twist it, turn it, pull the handle, whatever you can do, and pull out that rod like that. And now the old one is out. Okay, here's the new handle. We're ready to put that in. Now again, this is just a matter of play with it. Grind it till you find it kind of thing. Just have to get that hooked in. Sort of like that. That one's in. And now the lock lever, also just sort of play with it until you get that one popped in. Okay, now you can see we got that in. It just takes a matter of playing with that so you get the rod between that little piece that sticks out. Obviously when you see your replacements, you'll know exactly what we're talking about here. And anywhere in between that, and then everything is all set and everything should operate. You could give it a quick test like this just to make sure the rods move, and once it's bolted down, of course, it'll work the way it should. Now there's two clips here that are going to pop into the holes on the door there, so you have to slide the assembly forward and sort of weasel it in there and pop it in and slide it back just like that, and just adjust it so you get the hole lined up for the screw, and then we'll go and start reassembling the door. If you have that installed, you can give it a test. You want to just kind of tug on these, make sure everything seems to work first before you close the door, and you can see that when we pull on that, the door opens. If you lock it, it doesn't. Unlock it, it opens. Okay, so now we're ready to put the door card back on. You can see these metal tabs right here, all on the top. That's what hooks on to the top of the door here. So it's a matter of just sort of grabbing it, turning it a bit like this, and sort of just being careful, pushing it in, and pushing it down, and make sure everything's seated. And you can check over at this hole over here to make sure that that lines up with its hole on the inside. And as long as you see that and everything else looks flush and level, then we can proceed to the next step. Okay, now we're just going to pop back in the little speaker bezel here. There's just a tang on it that has to go in that hole, and a clip at the bottom. Just kind of work it down in, and press down until you pop it in. I got to try that one more time. There we are. That's it. Pops right in. And over here we're going to put the control board for the door locks and windows and all that kind of stuff here. You have to plug the connector back in. Again, there's a tab on that, which on this car is down. This just slides in till it sort of clicks in place. Just go carefully with it. Just like that, it clicks in. Here's your clip on the back, and a tab or tang on the front that bites in over here, so you want to kind of get down in and back it up till you get that tab down in there, just like that. And now here, just carefully work it down and push everything in, and that's it, back together. Okay, we're ready to reinstall this plastic pin. You can just push it through and pull the center part out, okay? And now you're left with this little mushroom thing. Just sort of squeeze it together, pop that in, and now the pin goes in the center and you push it till it goes flush. You just push on that, right like that, and it's back in. All right, now we'll just put some screws back in. You don't want to put the one back in the handle itself just yet, but get all your other screws back in the door panel first. All right, now you're going to put this back in. You'll notice it's beveled at that angle like that. That goes this way, and you just sort of wiggle it and push it in, and that pops right in. And then you got the other clip here, this one, which just snaps on the screw over here. Just sort of put it on, press, and that stays on there. Okay, and now we're going to put the bezel back in for the handle. So for that, you sort of put the handle in like that and fit it in. This is a matter of just sort of playing with it until you kind of get it right. And we're going to press, and we have to engage these clips in the back like that. One screw to go in there, which is your last screw, because you put all the other ones back, which goes behind the little door here. So we'll put that in and snap it shut. All back together. That's it. Bezel's there. Like I said, it's the wrong color, but for a car this old, it doesn't really matter. Just need it to work. It doesn't have to look that pretty anymore. So that's all in. Again, you can just retest it one more time right here. Just like that. Lock it. It won't open. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. And take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.